All right, I think we are live. All right, I want to say shalom, shalom. To all the brothers and sisters out there. This is brother Z, and it's S.O.J here. We're going to be doing a video over holiness and being set apart, and pretty much we just want to show in the Tharwa and in the scriptures and everything ways to be set apart. Also the importance of Yasharal keeping ourselves set apart from the nations and from various other things, especially when it comes to the Tharwa and our spirits. You know what I mean? So this is Shalom from Brother Z, Yahweh Kai, and I'm gonna let the other brothers say their Shaloms.
Say
Automatic.
Shalom or Yahweh God. I'm sorry, bro. Say Shalom, Yahweh God. Appreciate everybody who came on the panel. Just here to show support and, keep this charge. And with that, I say Yahweh God.
Yahweh Akkad, Shalom, this brother Davion. And first of all, praise Yahweh Akkad for allowing us to, to make another video and to bring out truth to Yasharal. And like my brother Z said, this video gonna be over being set apart and what it means to be set apart, what it means to be Quadash. So yeah, with that being said, pass it on to the next brother. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. This is Brother X. I want to say shalom to the panel, shalom to everybody who's going to be out there listening. And we just want to bring out some examples, uh, bring out ways to be set apart and how to distinguish yourself and get out of the folly, you know what I'm saying? Remove yourself from the beast, which we're supposed to do spiritually and physically. So, with that said, with that yield, and I want to say shalom to everybody. Yahweh God.
Okay. Um, I think I'm gonna kickstart us off here, and I know I couldn't think of a better place to start off being set apart in holiness, other than the commandments themselves. So I wanted to go to Exodus chapter 20. Um, yeah, Exodus chapter 20, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it says, God spoke all these statements, saying, I am Yahweh, your God, who has taken you out of the land of Egypt, from the house of slavery. You shall not recognize the gods of others in my presence. You shall not make yourself a carved image, nor any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or on the earth below, or in the waters beneath the earth. You shall not prostrate yourselves to them, nor worship them. For I am Yahweh, your God, a jealous God who visits the sin of fathers upon children to the third and fourth generations for my enemies, but who shows kindness for thousands of generations to those who love me and observe my commandments. You shall not take the name of Yahweh your God in vain, for Yahweh will not absolve anyone who takes his name in vain. Remember the Shabbat day to sanctify it. 6 days shall you work and accomplish all your work, but the seventh day is the Shabbat to Yahweh, your God. You shall not do any work, you, your son, your daughter, your slave, your maidservant, your animal, your convert, I'm sorry, and your convert within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them. He rested on the seventh day. Therefore, Yahweh blessed the Shabbat day and sanctified it, which means he set it apart. Honor your father and your mother, so that your days will be lengthened upon the land that Yahweh your God gives you. You shall not kill, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness against your fellow, you shall not covet your fellow's house, you shall not covet your fellow's wife, his maidservant, his maidservant, his ox, his donkey, nor anything that belongs to your fellow. The entire people saw the thunder and the flames, the sound of the shofar and the smoking mountain. The people saw and trembled and far, stood far. I'm sorry, from afar. They said to Moses, "You speak to us, and we shall hear. Let God not speak to us, lest we die." And I wanted to get that out, that was all the way to verse 15 in Exodus chapter 20, because that really, if you look into the Most High's law and you look into the commandments that he gave us, they keep you set apart. They keep you holy from you know certain things. The Most High wants us to sanctify the Shabbat day. We are to like set ourselves apart for him, which means we are not to recognize the gods of others in his presence. You know what I mean? That has something to do with holiness, being set apart, you know? You know what I'm saying? It's like that highlights a lot about like being sanctified. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna go down to verse 17. Moses said to the people, "Do not fear, for in order to elevate you has God come, so that awe of him shall be upon your faces, so that you shall not sin." The people stood from afar, and Moses approached the thick cloud where God was. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the Most High gave us his law to elevate us, to set us apart. You know what I mean? So I'm with that I'm gonna yield, and I'm gonna let the next brothers get out their points.
I got a verse right quick. I'm gonna go to. Hold on, let me see. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Um, I'm gonna go to Exodus 3. I'm gonna start at verse 7. Uh, Yahweh said, I have indeed seen the affliction of my people that is in Egypt, and I have heard its outcry because of his taskmasters, for I have known of its suffering. I shall descend to rescue it from the hand of Egypt, and to bring it up from that land to a good and spacious land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Pharisite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. And now, behold, the outcry of the children of Yasharal has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Egyptians oppressed them. Right? Now go. Oh, and now go, and I shall dispatch you to Pharaoh, and you shall take my bad, Salat. Pharaoh, and you shall take my people, the children of Yasharal, out of Egypt. Right? Because Yahweh saw us as a people of affliction. Right? Yahweh, chose us, because of the harsh labor. Excuse me, the harsh labor that the Egyptians that we were going through, the affliction, right? Remember, Egypt is also the dry mine. As my brother just read, it said, Yahweh has came, to elevate you through the teachings of the Tharawat, right? Now, just to back this up, I'm gonna go to, let me see, we'll go to Genesis 22. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go to Genesis 22, and I'm gonna start at verse 15. The angel of Yahweh called to Abraham a second time from heaven, and he said, by myself I swear, the word of Yahweh, that because you have done this thing and have not withheld your son, your only one, that I shall surely bless you and greatly increase your offspring like the stars of the heavens and like the sand of the seashore on the seashore. And your offspring shall inherit the gates of his enemy, and all the nations of the earth shall bless themselves by your offspring, because you have listened to my voice. Right? So, you know, the children, Yahweh chose the children of Yasharal, the offspring of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Because it says right here, your offspring shall inherit the gates of his enemy, and as I read in Exodus, Yahweh saw us as a people of affliction, you know, that his chosen people to be brought out of Egypt, right? So with that being said, I'm gonna pass it off to the next brother.
All right. I think I'll go to the book of like Jeremiah. I guess get some of the key points because it all relates to the same topic. Let me see. Go to Jeremiah 10. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
And take your time out.
Here you go. My fault. If I go to, we're here at Jeremiah 10, and we're looking at verse number 1. And it says, "Hear the word of Yahweh has spoken concerning you, O house of Israel. Thus said Yahweh, do not learn the way of the nations, and do not be frightened by the signs of the heavens, though the nations are frightened for them." Now, like it says, do not learn the way of the nations, because that's clearly been one of our biggest stumbling blocks right there, trying to be like everybody else. Just like they said, this is about being holy. You can't be holy trying to be like everybody else on the earth. Verse number 3, it says, "For the practice of the nations are foolish. For one takes the wood, for one takes the wood to cut down from the forest, fashioned by artisan with the days." I'm not gonna keep going into that, but we all understand that's about Christmas. But it's the whole point is that you can't be like this world and then say you're holy too. Like you can't do both. And the precept I got to back this up is one of my favorites. I'm going back to Leviticus, around 17, 18. Give me 1 second. Okay. That's Leviticus 18 and 24. It says, "Do not become contaminated through any of these. For though all of these, the nations that I expel before you, become contaminated." So, once again, it goes back to show in order for us to be holy, we can't take part in the things these people do. Loving the customs they love and just trying to fit into this world, you can't do it. And with that, I yield.
All right, shalom, shalom. Um, let's see. I'm gonna take you to. We're gonna first start off in First Chronicles chapter 23, and I'm gonna read what's it? Verse 12 and 13. And verse 12 says, "The sons of Korah, Amram, Azahar, Hebron, and Uzziel, altogether four, the sons of Aaron and Moshe. Aaron was set apart to sanctify him as holy of holies, he and his sons forever, to burn offerings before Elohim, to minister before him, and to bless his name forever." So, right there is that's a definite example. Yahweh's setting apart, you know, Aaron and his seed as the Kohanayim, and you know, sanctify them to be the holies of holies, because they're going to have to be able to take the charge for everyone that's to come afterwards, because they were the first. You know what I'm saying? Moshe and Aaron were the first prophet and high priest, so they had to do everything accordingly in order to make sure that it gets passed down correctly. You know what I'm saying? So um that is an example of being set apart, because in order to do I mean, first off, well, it's like I can't speak on that, but I mean, obviously Yahweh saw something within Moshe and Aaron that, that was special, and he brought it out of them. So to be set apart, you just you gotta follow Yahweh devoutly. You know what I'm saying? No uh hesitation, uh no second guessing yourself. You know what I'm saying? Just keep that faith, like and who's Caleb and Joshua, son of Nun, like they did when they gave out the good report in the land. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have that faith. You know what I'm saying? But with that, I yield for now.
Con. Some great points that the brothers are getting out. And like I said, you know, the a big part of being Yasharal and a big part of the covenant is to separate ourselves from the common fold or from like the nations whom we were surrounded by. When the Most High made his covenant with Abraham, the covenant of circumcision with his children, you know what I mean? That was to set them apart from the Canaanite in their land. That no, not in their land, the land that they were in. Not I'm not saying that was the only purpose, but that was one of them. You know what I'm saying? Because they couldn't have uncircumcised people within the house. You know what I'm saying? So it's like every man from Abraham's household thus on had to be circumcised, which is why we're all circumcised. You know what I'm saying? So because it's a covenant, You know what I mean? It's another way to set Yasharal apart. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to parallel that with this verse here, Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Okay. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. And it says, "For you are a holy people to Yahweh, your God. Yahweh, your God, has chosen you to be for him a treasured people above all the peoples that are on the face of the earth. Now, because you are, I'm sorry, not because you are more numerous than all the other peoples did Yahweh desire you and chose you. For you are the fewest of all peoples. Rather, because of Yahweh's love for you has I'm sorry. Rather, because of Yahweh's love for you, and because he, and because he observed the oath that he swore to your forefathers, did he take you out with a strong hand and redeem you from the house of slavery, which is another form of setting you apart, and from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. You must know that Yahweh, your God, he is the God, the faithful God, who safeguards the covenant and the kindness for those who love him and for those who observe his commandments for 1,000 generations. And he repays his enemies in his lifetime to make him perish. He shall not delay for his enemy. In his lifetime he shall repay him. You shall observe the commandment and the decree and the ordinances that I command you today to perform them. So the Most High wants us to set ourselves apart. It says we're a holy people unto him, which means a sanctified people. You know what I mean? A Kodash, you know what I mean? People. Um, and if I may, I just wanted to get to my next verse since I said Kodash, that got me thinking about my next verse, and I figured I might as well bring that out really quick. It's going to be Exodus chapter 28, verse 36. Um, here we go. There it is. Exodus chapter, like I said, 28, verse 36. It says, "You shall make a head plate of pure gold, and you shall engrave upon it, engrave like a signet ring, holy to Yahweh." You know what I mean? So set apart to Yahweh. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And it says, you shall place it on a cord of turquoise wool, and it shall be on the turban. Opposite the front of the turban shall it be. Turquoise is like blue, right? If I'm not wrong, it's like a light blue. You know what I mean? And if you know anything about blue, it represents like refinement, like wisdom, like, like thought, like water. You know what I'm saying? Like high wisdom. So that head plate is on a turquoise thread. You know what I mean? So and it's golden, pure gold, and it says holy to Yahweh. In the language, it says Chatham Chodash La Yahweh. You know what I mean? So that's what it is there. You know what I mean? So I wanna give it off to the next brother and shalom.
Shalom. I'm gonna go ahead and bring out these two, and we're gonna try to stay on this topic. And this one's been coming out here a lot through the spirit. So this is gonna be Ezekiel 22. I'm gonna start at verse number 25. It says, There is a conspiracy of her prophets in her midst, like a roaring lion that tears its prey. They have devoured souls. They have taken away Jerusalem's treasure and worth. They have increased their riddles in her midst. Her priests robbed my Torah and desecrated my sanctities. They did not, here go the key, they did not distinguish between holy and profane, and they did not make known the difference between contaminated and purified. They hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I became profane among them. The big key in here, like it says, is they did not distinguish between holy and profane. You got this big thing with Jake. They like to try to mix the two, but it's like fresh water and salt water. It don't mix. Light and darkness does not have a common ground. Evil and good don't either. I want to back this up with a precept because a big part of staying holy is trying your best to stay out of it. So we're gonna go to the book of Isaiah. Uh, we'll go to Isaiah 5, and we're gonna start at verse number 20. It says, Woe to those who say evil is good and good is evil, who make darkness into light and light into darkness. They make bitter into sweet and sweet into bitter. See, and that goes back to that. In order to be holy, like you have to separate yourself from what's profane. You can't you can't put Yahweh on a point system and say I can be this crooked and then I can repent and I'm cool. Like it's not like it. It's like it's all about your faith and trying your best to just literally stay away from it. Period. And like I said, there is no mixing good and evil. So with that, I yield Yahweh God.
Con.
Uh, Shalom. Um, I'm gonna start in Leviticus 19, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the entire assembly of the children of Yasharal, and say to them, You shall be holy, for I am holy, Yahweh, your God. Every man, your mother and father, shall you revere, and my Shabbat shall you observe. I am Yahweh, your God. Do not turn to the idols, and molten gods shall you not make for yourselves. I am Yahweh, your God." Right? So, it says, "You shall be holy, for I am holy." Quadash, which means to be set apart, or to be like the most holy, to be set apart. Yahweh chose us, the people of affliction, right? And in order to be holy, you have to, follow Yahweh's ways, follow his commandments, his laws, his statutes, his ordinances, his decrees, right? Now I'm gonna go to hold on, give me a second. Um, right, and it says, "Do not turn to the idols, and molten gods shall you not make for yourselves. I am Yahweh, your God." Right. Now I'm gonna go to Exodus 32. I'm gonna go to Exodus 32. 1 second. And right, Exodus 32. I'm gonna start at verse 3. The entire people removed the gold rings that were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. He took it from their hands and bound it up in a cloth and fashioned it into a molten calf. They said, "This is your God, O Yasharal, which brought you up from the land of Egypt." Aaron saw and built an altar before him. Aaron called out and said, "A festival for Yahweh tomorrow." They arose early the next day and offered up burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. The people sat to eat and drink, and they got up to revel, right? So they made a molten image, right? Then Yahweh just say, "Don't make molten images," right? So I'm gonna start at verse 7. Yahweh spoke to Moses, "Go, descend for your people that you brought up from the land of Egypt," right? But before that, they said that this is your God, right? The molten calf, right? That is idolatry. I'm gonna continue on to verse 7. I'll read it again. Yahweh spoke to Moses, "Go, descend, for your people that you brought up from the land of Egypt has become corrupt. They have strayed quickly from the way that I have commanded them. They have made themselves a molten calf, prostrated themselves to it, and sacrificed to it. And they said, This is your God, O Israel, which brought you up from the land of Egypt." Yahweh said to Moses, "I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people." Right? So that's Yasharal continue, to turn away from Yahweh. They made a molten image as Yahweh said not to. Because when you follow, that's what the other nations do. The other nations, we shall not go after the gods of others. Yahweh is our God. So they're making a molten calf, which means they were going after idolatry, right? So with that being said, are you
Con. All right, brothers and sisters, I'm gonna bring out Leviticus 18, and I'm gonna start by reading. Oh, stop. Give me 1 second. Just close on it. I'm gonna start by reading verse 1, and it says, Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to the children of Yasharal and say to them, I am I am Yahweh, your God, Elohim. Do not perform the practices of the land of Egypt in which you dwelled, past tense, and do not perform the practice of the land of Canaan to which I bring you, future tense, and do not follow their traditions." Okay, he's telling us this for a reason. This is how we can be set apart by not following their traditions, because Being set apart is not doing what they did, which is the majority. The majority of these people did the same thing. So for us to be set apart, we have to follow the laws of Allah. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep our heritage and that's all I want. I'm going to read. It says, carry out my laws and safeguard my decrees to follow them. I am Allahayim, your or fuck, I am Yahweh, your Allahayim. You shall observe my decrees and my laws, which man shall carry out, by which he shall live. I am Allahayim. See, if you carry out Allahayim's laws, that's true life. You know what I'm saying? Because he will give us true rest, true happiness. You know, nothing that the world can offer us is better than what Allahayim has offered us. You know what I'm saying? Man's ways are opposite to Allahayim, and that's just what it is. But if you go all the way down to verse, I'll start at verse 21 because I'm starting at verse 21. If you go down in 18, and it says, "You shall not present any of your children to pass through for Molech, and do not profane the name of Allahayim your God. I am Yahweh. You shall not lie with a man as one lies with a woman. It is an abomination. Do not lie with any animal or be contaminated with it. A woman shall not stand before an animal for mating. It is a perversion. Yes, these things are depraved. You're not supposed to be conducting these acts. So, in order to, safeguard, Allahayim and Salawat, we must uh, uh, set apart ourselves from these ways. You know what I'm saying? Let me continue. It says, do not become contaminated through any of these, for though, or sorry, for any of these, for through all of these, the nations that I expel before you became contaminated. So that's for all you crybabies out there crying about Yahweh destroying the nations that got destroyed. Why he do this, that, and other? He just told you. These nations became contaminated because they was conducting a debauchery. You know what I'm saying? They were going against the natural laws of that Elohim has put on earth. You know what I'm saying? So for that, he destroyed them. And that's rightfully so. I mean, he just told you. So it says, the land became contaminated, and I will call its iniquity upon it, and the land disgorged its inhabitants. But you shall safeguard my decrees and my judgments, and not commit any of these abominations, the native or the proselyte who lives among you. For the inhabitants of the land who are before you contaminated all these abominations. Oh, stop. Before you committed all these abominations, and the land became contaminated. So the whole point, well, not the whole point, but one of the main major points is to keep the land pure. You know what I'm saying? Keep the land holy. We're not supposed to do any of these things on the land because the land is important. It's a heritage. And it was a treasured land by Allahim for a reason. So we have to uphold that and keep it, here. So by doing that, we have to stay away from all the practices that the nations before us that was in the land before us practiced. We have to stay away from it. But let me continue. It says, discourage the nation that was before you, for if anyone commits any of these abominations, the people doing so will be cut off from among their people. So it doesn't matter if you're Yasharal or not. This is for anybody. It just said you're going to be cut off from your people there. So verse 30 and last, it says, you shall safeguard my charge not to do any of the abominable traditions that were done before you, and not commit or contaminate yourselves through them. I am Allahim your God. One of them abominable traditions is all these Hellenized holidays. You know what I'm saying? Those are pagan holidays. Those are so-called traditions that were passed down from the oppressor, from people who are in charge of us. You know what I'm saying? During our time of bondage and servitude because of our sins. So we must break away from those wicked traditions and keep and uphold the Tawawah. And with that, I yield.
All right, all right. I really enjoy the points that the brothers getting out. They're getting to some great information. And honestly, truly, this is what we need to do. Separate ourselves from the nations and not follow their traditions. The Most High said like the brother just said, he brings judgment upon them according to what they've been doing. You know what I'm saying? So he's not just destroying nations or like destroying people because he wants to, but because like Those nations, their contamination had got to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Same thing that happened with us. We let ourselves become contaminated, and we were destroyed for it. So I'm gonna go to Leviticus chapter 20. I'm gonna go down here to verse 22. And it says, you shall observe all my decrees and all my ordinances and perform them. Then the land to which I bring you shall dwell, and it will not discourage you. Do not follow the traditions of the nation that I expelled from before you, for they did all of these things, and I was disgusted with them. You see what I'm saying? So I said to you, you shall inherit the land, and I will give it to you to inherit it, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am Yahweh, your God, who has separated you from the peoples. You shall distinguish between the clean animal and the unclean, and between the clean bird and the unclean. You shall not render your souls abominable through such animals and birds, and through anything that creeps on the ground, which I have set apart for you to render unclean. So that whole verse right there, from 22 to 25, that really highlights a lot of some of the points that we've been getting to in the video. I mean, the Most High says it better than any of us. You know what I mean? Can say it. You know what I mean? All we're here to do is to read the scriptures. You know what I mean? To try to, you know. So I'm gonna read that one more time, starting from verse 24. So I said to you, you shall inherit their land, and I will give it to you to inherit it, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am Yahweh, your God, who has separated you from the peoples. You shall distinguish between clean animal and unclean. You shall not become. I'm sorry. You shall not. I'm sorry. And between the clean bird and the unclean. And you shall not render your souls abominable through such animals and birds, and through anything that creeps on the ground, which I have set apart for you to render unclean. Verse 26. You shall be holy for me, for I am Yahweh. I'm sorry. You shall be holy for me, for I, Yahweh, am holy, and I have separated you from the peoples to be mine. Any man or woman in whom there shall be the sorcery of or Yidoni, they shall be put to death. They shall pelt them with the stones. Their blood is upon themselves. So
And I can tell you one
it's right
thing.
there. The most I tell you right there. We are holy people unto him. You know what I mean? He is holy. If we're his people, we got to be holy too. What's up?
So no, I was just gonna tell you who the your dean and
I
Um,
got precept to back that up too, bro.
kind. The brother X wanted to get to a point, and then brother Vanya got a point right after that.
all right, so it's like so the what the Wabe, because there's NOB or NOV and the Yadowani, but basically they are fortune tellers and card readers and necromancers, people who read palms and all that debauchery, all that weird stuff. That's the people who are basically trying to foretell the future. That's who this is referring to. You know what I'm saying? So don't seek guidance from those type of people. That's the highest sense of sorcery. Because for one, you're paying them to seek a future for your own self. So it's vain. You know what I'm saying? Because they can just say some stuff that don't even, you know, that might not even really happen. They can just say whatever makes you feel. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the smooth interpretation they want you to be, I guess, embodied. You know what I'm saying? By the things you hear that makes you feel good, rather than your own misdoings and stuff. You don't want to hear about your misdoings. You want to hear about the good things. So, conjure of spirits. God. Yeah, that. Oh, here. I'm gonna let Brother Davion read it off in the language.
Shalom. So if you so uh the yada ne, which would be the so-called Yadoni, right? If you go to Strong's 3049, it means a knowing one, a conjurer of a ghost or a wizard. So basically, it's basically the same thing as necromancy. We're not supposed to come near that at all. You know, We don't mess with that stuff. It's wicked. It's wicked. No, I'm gonna pass it back to the brother.
Go ahead, brother Vine.
All right, all right. Shalom. Let me see. I want to bring out these points right here, and I'm gonna go to Jeremiah 2, and I'm gonna start at verse number 1. It says, "The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Go and call out unto the ears of Jerusalem, saying, Thus said Yahweh, I recall for you the kindness of your youth, the love of your Nepals. It says, You're following me into the wilderness, into an unsown land. Israel is holy to Yahweh, the first of his crop. All who devour it will be led guilty, will be held guilty. Evil shall come upon them, the word of Yahweh. Hear the word of Yahweh, O house of Jacob, and all the families of the house of Israel. Thus said Yahweh, what wrong did your forefathers find in me, that they distanced themselves from me and pursued futility, and became futile? But they did not say, Where is Yahweh? Who brought us up from the land of Egypt, who led us into the wilderness and the land of the desert and the pit, in a land of waste and the shadow of death, in a land through which no man passes and where no person settled. I brought you into a fruitful land to eat its fruit and bounty, but you came and contaminated my land and made my heritage into an abomination. The Kohen did not say, Where is Yahweh? Those charged with teaching my Torah did not know me. The shepherds rebelled against me. The prophets prophesied by Baal, and they went after those that cannot avail. I want to stop right here. When you look at this and what it's telling you, and I got some two precepts to back this up. When you look at this and what it's telling you, when we made it into the land, we stopped trusting Yahweh. Because remember, he had already set out everything for us in so many words to be our own people, to have our own land, to have everything set up for us. But we didn't trust Yahweh. That's why it says they started prophesizing by the Baal. And I want to precepts I want to bring out. Let's see. Go back into the book of Deuteronomy, and I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy 12. And these precepts are to cut um it's to cut all the false blood thing, and we ain't gonna harken on that too much, but it's also to show everybody something key. And this is Deuteronomy 12, starting at verse number 4. It says, You shall not do this to Yahweh, your God. I'm gonna read that one again. You shall not do this to Yahweh, your God. Rather, only at the place that Yahweh your God will choose from among all your tribes to place his name. There you shall seek out his presence and come there. I want to ask the brothers on the panel a question. Yahweh meets you where?
In your mind,
In your mind.
In the mind, the spirit.
The
Okay,
top of the cherubim.
okay,
the Ark
come.
of the Covenant.
Look at what it says. It says, rather only at the place that Yahweh your God shall choose from among all your tribes to place his name. There you shall seek out his presence. So, one, you're supposed to look inwardly. It has nothing to do with the building, a ceremony, or nothing. This is about you looking inwardly. Why? Because he's already told you. Verse number 4, you shall not do this. You're not supposed to do what the other people do. The way they worship, you have nothing to do with that. And to back this all up, go to, I'm going to go to same Deuteronomy 12, and I'm going to go to verse number 26. And this is the cutter right here. It says, this is Deuteronomy 12 and 26. It says, Only your sanctities that you have and your vow offering shall you carry, and come to the place that Yahweh will choose. I'm going to read that again. Only your sanctities that you have and your vow offering shall you carry, and come to the place that Yahweh will choose. So, to all the brothers on the panel, does that mean we were supposed to physically carry anything?
Nope. That's
Now, did,
strictly spiritual.
Con.
thank you. Thank you. So, like it says, only your sanctities and your vow offering. Like he said, don't worship me the way they worship, and don't do this to me. With that, I yield.
Con, 100% con. Um, yeah. I get on my next point. Like um, here it is. I'm tongue tied. So just like the brother said, um, it's spiritual. It's a spiritual offering. You know what I mean? Being set apart isn't just about like physically. You know what I mean? It's not. You know what I mean? It's spiritual. Um, it has nothing to do with like the robes you wear, the you know what I mean. It's mostly your spirit because once it's implanted there, then it'll protrude out outwardly. You know what I mean. So basically once it's here, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm gonna just get the verse that I try to read. Exodus chapter 6. I'm gonna start at verse 2. um Forgive me for I don't think any of the brothers got this yet. Have you? Exodus chapter 6. Okay. Exodus chapter 6 verse 2. It says, God spoke to Moses and said to him, I am Yahweh. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as Al Shaddai. But with my name, Yahweh, I did not make myself known to them. Moreover, I established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their sojourning, in which they sojourned. Moreover, I have heard the groan of the children of Israel, whom Egypt enslaves, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore, say to the children of Israel, I am Yahweh, and I shall take you out from under the burdens of Egypt. I shall rescue you from their service. I shall redeem you with an outstretched arm and with the great judgments. I shall take you to me for a people, and I shall be a God to you. You shall know that I am Yahweh, your God, who takes you out of under the burdens of Egypt. I shall bring you to the land about which I raised my hand to give it to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob. I shall give it to you as a heritage. I am Yahweh. So basically, me getting that verse was pretty much me highlighting the point that the Most High selected us and chose us to be a set apart people for Himself. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with our personal opinions or our choices. You know what I mean? The Most High chose us, not even because of us. He kept his heritage. He kept his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No matter who we were, he wasn't going to break his promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I mean? So those of Yasharal who don't listen fall off, but those who seek the covenant, they may inherit it if they seek the Most High. You know what I mean? And grasp tightly to His covenant. So basically what I'm saying is this is this is like a not blood, but this is like a hereditary thing. You know what I mean? This is this is what we're supposed to be doing as a people. So to all the Yashar out there who are listening, praise the Most High Yahweh for anybody who is. Um Set yourself apart, you know what I'm saying? Um that means in the way we worship, in our everyday lives, in our spirits, you know what I'm saying? I'm relieve and let the next brother go.
Shalom. Uh, I'm gonna start in Genesis 12. So, so remember Yahweh, brought Abraham to the land of Canaan, right? So just keep that in mind. So this Genesis, and remember the land of Canaan, or the land of Yasharal is the land flowing with milk and honey, right? It's our Yahweh's heritage, or our heritage, also the Tharawah, right? So this is Genesis 31. I mean Genesis 11 verse 31. Terah took his son Abram and Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson, and his daughter-in-law Sharai, the wife of Abram, his son. And they departed with them from Awar Kadashayam to go to the land of Canaan. They arrived at Haran and they settled there, right? So if you look up Awar Kadashayam, right? So Awar means to like illuminate, or it means illumination, or like fire, light, to kindle. Also, like as in the east, you know, which would be like, the sun rises in the east, right? And now I'm gonna read you what Kadashayam mean, and Kadashayam, or Kadashayam, which means like a Chaldean or an astrologer. The Chaldeans and what is it? A Magian or like a magician, right? Now Yahweh brought Abram out of Awar Kadashayam because they were stargazing, they were astrologers, right? They worshiped the host of heaven, right? So now I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy and let's see what Yahweh think about that. This Deuteronomy 4. Um Deuteronomy 4, verse 12. Bear with me. Yahweh spoke to you from the midst of the fire. You were hearing the sound of words, but you were not seeing a likeness, only a sound. He told you of his covenant that he commanded you to observe, the 10 declaration. My bad. Salah. The 10 declarations, and he inscribed them on 2 stone tablets. Yahweh commanded me at that time to teach you decrees and ordinances, and you shall perform them in the land to which you cross, to possess it, the land of Canaan, right? The same place that Yahweh brought Abram. But you shall greatly beware for your souls, for you did not see any likeness on the day Yahweh spoke to you at Horeb from the midst of the fire, lest you act corruptly and make for yourself a carved image, a likeness of any shape, a form of a man, a male or a female, a form of any animal that is on the earth, a form of any winged bird that flies in the heaven, a form of anything that creeps on the ground, a form of any fish that is in the water under the earth, unless you raise your eyes to the heavens and you see the sun and the moon and the stars, the entire legion of heaven, and you be drawn astray and bow to them and prostrate and and bow to them and worship them, which Yahweh your God has apportioned to all the peoples under the entire heaven. But Yahweh has taken you and withdrawn you from the iron crucible from Egypt to be a nation of heritage for him, as this very day, right? Now, remember, Egypt is also the dry mind, right? And, we don't worship the host of heaven as they were doing in Awar Kadashayam. Now, I'm going to go to Salah. I'm going to go back to Genesis. I'm going to go back to Genesis 17, right? Genesis 17, verse 1. When Abram was 99 years old, Yahweh appeared to Abram and said to him, I am El Shaddai, or Almighty. Walk before me and be perfect. I will set my covenant between me and you, and I will increase you most exceedingly. Abram threw himself upon his face, and God spoke with him, saying, As for me, this is my covenant with you. You shall be a father of a multitude of nations. Your name shall no longer be called Abram, but your name shall be called Abraham. For I have made you the father of a multitude of nations. I will make you most exceedingly fruitful and make nations of you, and kings shall descend from you. I will ratify my covenant between me and you and between your offspring after you throughout their generations as an everlasting covenant to be a guide to you and to your offspring after you. And I will give to you and to your offspring after you the land of your sojourns, the whole land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I shall be a God to them. Right? Now, if you go back to verse 1, it says, I am El Shaddai. Walk before me and be perfect, right? So how does one walk before Yahweh, right? When the children of Yasharal left Egypt, they were in the wilderness, right? To get to the land of Canaan, right? So now I'm gonna go to, let me see. I'm gonna go to Psalms 1. Psalms 1, verse 1. Praiseworthy is the man who walked not in the counsel of the wicked, and stood not in the path of the sinful, and sat not in the session of scorners. But his desire is in the Tharawah of Yahweh, and in his Tharawah he meditates day and night. He shall be like a tree deeply rooted alongside brooks of water, that yields its fruit in its season, and whose leaf never withers, and everything that he does will succeed. Not so the wicked, rather they are like the chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore, the wicked shall not be vindicated in judgment, nor the sinful in the assembly of righteous. For Yahweh attends the way of the righteous, while the way of the wicked will perish. So, you know, um, you keep the Tharawah, you know, like the same thing, happened with Abram. Yahweh brought him out of the land, of the land where they were doing detestable practices and sacrificing the demons, and Yahweh brought him out of that and brought him to the land of Canaan, the teachings of the Tharawah, Yahweh's ways. So with that, Yahweh Khan.
I got I want to show one. I got 2 examples of Daniel If somebody could you hold Ecclesiastes 7 and 7? And I'm gonna give my two examples of Daniel, making sure that he set himself apart while being still exiled in Babylon. And that's gonna be Daniel, starting Daniel chapter 1, starting verse number 8. And it says, Daniel set the resolve in his heart not to be defiled by the king's food, nor his drinking wine. So he requested the chief office that he not be defiled. So, number one, Daniel is already understanding the Torah, to keep the Torah. And it's a great example just to show you. Just because we're in our situations, it doesn't exactly mean you have to endure 100% in it. Daniel's in exile, but he, like he said, he didn't want the king's food and he didn't want the king's wine. And the brothers on the panel, we know number one, we shouldn't eat things offered to other gods. We know this, and we shouldn't just trust in everybody's food. And we know what diet we should have. So this is Daniel, definitely number one, trying to keep himself set apart. So just look at what happens. It says, verse number 9, God granted Daniel favor and mercy before the chief officer. So Daniel was able to be delivered out of the situation of even having to eat all this foul food. And I'll go to the next example in Daniel. I'm going to go to Daniel chapter 5 and verse number 17. Somebody got that precept? I
Uh,
get it.
what was the chapter and verse again? I didn't hear it.
The precept to hold is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse number 7.
All right.
All right. And we're going to get this continue in Daniel. So this is Daniel chapter 5. And I'm going to just read the setup and I'm going to read Daniel's part. Setup is going to start at verse number 16. It says, But I have heard about you that you are able to provide interpretations and to resolve difficulties. Now, if you will be able to read the writing and make this interpretation known to me, you will wear royal purple with a chain of gold on your neck, and you will rule one third of the kingdom. Verse number 17. Daniel then replied and said before the king, Let your gifts remain yours and give your rewards to others. But I will read the writing for the king and make its interpretation known. So look at Daniel once again. Daniel told the king to keep your gifts because number one, being Yasharal, material things shouldn't turn you on anyway. Daniel understood where his gifts came from, and they could never come from Nebuchadnezzar. So if you will go ahead and get that precept out.
This Ecclesiastes 7 verse 7. For oppression makes the wise foolish, and a gift corrupts the heart.
You said a gift corrupts the what?
The heart or the mind.
Okay, so just like Daniel, like you said, him knowing to refuse those gifts, to refuse that food, while he was in exile, he still did what he had to do to keep himself set apart. Just because you're somewhere don't mean you have to indulge in the things they do. With that, I yield.
I got another verse about Abram. He turned down gifts. So this is Genesis 14. Oh my bad. Genesis 14 verse 21. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people and take the possessions for yourself. Abram said to the king of Sodom, Lift up I Salah, I lift up my hand to Yahweh, God, Eliyawan, maker of heaven and earth. If so much as a thread to a shoe strap, or if I shall take anything of yours, so you shall not say it is I who made Abram rich. Far from me. Only what the young men have eaten, and the share of the men who accompany me, Aner, Eshkawal, and Mamre, they will take their portion. You know, so that's all I gotta say. With that, I you.
Shalom,
That's a,
shalom.
that's a
I'm sorry.
great precept too, bro.
Sorry. All right, so that's a great precept. All right, so I just stumbled across some gold. Uh, it's in Ezra. As soon as I said that, free. Uh,
Give me a second. Okay. I'm sorry, Slack. Give me 1 second. I temporarily lost it. Um, okay, I found it. So it's Ezra chapter 10, and I'm gonna start at verse 9, and it says, all the men of Yehoiada and Benjamin assemble in Yasharal, what's that? Jerusalem. Sorry, Slack. Within 3 days, was which was in the ninth month, on the 12th of the month, all the days which was in the ninth month, on the 12th of the month, all the people sat in the plaza of the temple of Elohim, trembling because of of uh, the matter of and from the rains. Okay. Ezra the Kohanim arose and said to them, you have been unfaithful and have taken in alien wives, adding to Yasharal's guilt. So now make confession before Elohim, God of your forefathers, and perform his will and separate yourselves from the peoples of the land. You hear that? Perform his will and separate yourselves from the people of the land. I'm gonna continue reading. Um, from the people of the land and from the alien wives. Okay? See? Now we're getting somewhere. Because we were taking on alien wives and we weren't supposed to be doing that. It's like, and so now what Ezra did was he made all the men of Yahshua who took alien wives basically send their alien wives away, and they have to bring up an offering to atone or try to atone for their sin. But let me finish reading. It says, the entire congregation then called out and exclaimed in a loud voice, it is true, we must do as you say, but there are many people, and it is the rainy season, and there is no strength to remain outdoors. There is not a task for 1 day or for 2 days, for we have sinned abundantly in this matter. But Slakia, in this matter is referring to the alien wives. Continue, it says, let our chiefs now remain with the entire congregation, and let those in our cities who have taken in alien wives appear at designated times, accompanied by the elders and judges for each city, until we cause the burning wrath of Elohim to recede from us until this matter is resolved. Only Jonathan, son of Ashael, and Yazael, or what's that? That's Yah Yaziah, Yaziah, son of what's that? T. I don't know how to say that one. Uh, what's that? Ta Takaba. Takaba stood against this, and another name I can't pronounce properly. Uh, it's like it. What's that? Mesh Shawal, Mashawalim, and Shabbat Shabbatai. The Levites supported them. The people of the exile did so. Ezra the Cohen and the distinguished men who were in the heads of the family, all of them renowned, separated themselves and conveyed on the first day of the 10th month to investigate the matter. They finished dealing with all the men who had taken in alien wives by the first day of the first month. So, see, they but that's good that they took on the problem and came up with a solution right then and there, so that it will it will cease Yahweh's burning wrath upon the whole entire congregation. Because as it said, that was a matter in which they had sinned abundantly in, which is taking alien wives and foreign wives that we weren't supposed to take of. So that's one of the another many ways that we're supposed to be set apart. It's by also being very dil- diligent and I guess you could say picky of the women we choose, but I mean, because it's very important, because a lot of those women who are of alien wives, it's because that they would lead us astray and have us worshiping their gods, and
all that blasphemy. So in order to prevent that, we're not supposed to take them as wives and give their sons to our daughters and give our sons to their daughters. So that's another important thing. Also, I would like to read from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Uh, there's some important stuff in there on how to be set apart because once again, Dead Sea Scrolls we're talking about the Levites during the time who in Qumran. You know what I'm saying? So this is how we're supposed to be living, and it says, uh, okay, what's a good page? Oh, so let's see. This is okay. So this one is talking about marriage, and it says, "Let no man bring into his house a woman whom he knew to do the deed were a trife, or whom he knew to do the deed while under her father's authority. A widow who has had intercourse after she became a widow, or any woman who has had a bad reputation while a virgin under her father's authority. Let no man marry such a one unless under the supervision of the dependable and knowledgeable woman. She is purified at the command of the overseer who is over the congregation. He may marry her, but when he marries her, let him do according to the regulation." So, um, that's basically saying, like in what's that? Is it Zephaniah? Was talking about being a harlot. I think it's oh no, Zechariah. It's kind of like a Zechariah. We're not supposed to take a harlot for a wife, or have like a woman who has the or take for a woman who we knew to do the deed while like under the authority of her father's uh house. So it's like them defying their father and doing the deed under behind their back. It's kind of the same situation almost with Dina, right? Dinah and what was the dude name? It was a Princess Shakim and Dina, which was kind. She saw it was good to uh well she thought it was good to go out with their prince, but carnally. You know what I'm saying? She didn't get married with him or anything. So they had a carnal relationship and they ended up having relations. And according to our heritage, we're not supposed to do that before marriage, especially with our women. So that was a huge sin, and she had brought that on herself just by doing that, but she perceived that that was good, so she she didn't take good counsel. Another thing the brothers were just talking about as a reference to Gentile food and Gentile meat. This one is good too. It says one must never bring Gentile meat in the blood of their sacrifice in its purity, nor is one to bring any portion of gold or silver or bronze or iron or tin or lead that the Gentiles use to make idols. No one can bring it into the zone of purity surrounding the temple. You know what I'm saying? And you can find that and what's that? Deuteronomy 7:25. That's what that chapter is coming from, Deuteronomy. And that's important too because you know that they cook they foods in uh you know pots and pans. We're not even supposed to uh take food of people who eat defiled food. We're not even supposed to share utensils. So it's really important when it comes to our food and what we consume and put in our body. We have to be clean. It has to be holy, and it has to be in the righteous manner. So cooked properly. You know what I'm saying? But with that, I mean, those are a whole bunch of things. There's a lot of other things I can read out of here. But for now, I'm gonna yield. I'll pass on to the next brother.
All right. I got another one. You know what? I just want to say this, and I want everybody, especially the people who end up hearing this, I want you to hear this loud, clear. Just because your house was dealing with you, that don't mean you still don't have to set yourself apart. You have to, and these are just facts. And I want to get that. I'll give you an example of that. We're going to go to the book of Ezekiel, and we're going to go to the third chapter, starting at verse number 22. Said the hand of Yahweh came upon me there, and he said to me, Arise and go out to the valley, and there I will speak with you. So I arose and went out to the valley, and behold, the glory of Yahweh was standing there, like the glory that I saw at the river Chebar, and I fell upon my face. Then the Spirit entered into me and stood me on my feet, and he spoke to me and said to me, Come, shut yourself inside your house. And you, son of man, behold, it is as if they had put ropes upon you and bound you with them. You shall not go out among them. So just like he's telling him, he's the Kohen, and he has to separate himself from everybody else. And when you go up, I give you an example, like when you go up into what, like Ezekiel 8, it says, I was sitting, Ezekiel 8 and 1. I'm just going to start at this part. It says, I was sitting in my house, and the elders of Judah were sitting before me. So he still has not left his house because Yahweh told him to stay in your house. And being the Kohen and being a righteous man he is, he obeyed. And through the series of what Yahweh had him do within that time, the whole point is he had to cut himself off from the people. And if you keep reading in 3 and 4, it lets him know that he was going to shut his mouth. So nobody was going to be able to come talk to him for a while. So they wasn't going to know what was going to happen. So the whole point I just want to get out is that just because your house was dealing with you don't mean you still don't have to be set apart. Yes, you do. And you have to maintain that and keep that going. Just like he told Ezekiel, separate yourself from your people. With that, I yield.
We've been having a great live so far, and we're gonna start wrapping it up. We're gonna start getting out some inverses and pretty much wrap it up. But as far as everything that we've been getting out, I think I think that we've got our with the point of the video across. I think that we've definitely hit the nail on the head, and I want to praise the Most High Yahweh for providing us with His scriptures and the blessing that He's blessed our heritage with to even do this. Because without the Torah, we would not be here right now. No, without the Torah, none of us would be here on this panel speaking anything. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the Most High. I appreciate you brothers coming to speak, and I'm start off with some of these last verses I had. It's gonna be Numbers chapter 23, verse 9, and it says, "For from its origins I see it rock-like." And this is the prophet of the nations giving a like vision of like Israel. It says, uh, "For from its origins I see it rock-like, and from hills do I see it. Behold, it is a nation that will dwell in solitude and not be reckoned among the nations." You see what I'm saying? We are a nation, yet we don't have a flag. We don't have a country. We don't have like an army. We don't have a Congress. We don't have a declaration. Well, we do have a declaration of law, and but we don't have like an economy. You know what I'm saying? We fuel everyone else's economy, and that's how we're exiled slaves. So this nation, it says, that will dwell in solitude and will not be reckoned among the nations. Who has counted the dust of Jacob, or numbered a quarter of Israel? May my soul die the death of the upright, and may my end be like his. And that's pretty much the prophet of the nations, like pretty much like saying that he rather be like the Israel. You know what I mean? Like he rather be like when it comes to like integrity. The point of the verse was that like some other guy was trying to get him to like curse us, but he said no. I rather be like them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go to verse. There's gonna be Exodus. If I can just get to it, it's gonna be Exodus chapter 19. I just got one more verse after this, and then I'm gonna give my shalom. Exodus chapter 19, verse 10 is what it's telling me here in my little notes. Okay, here it is. And this is before the Most High had this for the Most High had made his made his voice heard on the mountain in front of the people. And it says verse 10. Uh yeah, Yahweh said to Moses, "Go to the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and they shall wash their clothing. Let them be prepared for the third day, for on the third day Yahweh shall descend in the sight of the entire peoples on Mount Sinai. You shall set boundaries for the peoples round about, saying, Beware of ascending the mountain or touching its edge. Whoever touches the mountain shall surely die. A hand shall not touch it, for he shall surely be stoned or thrown down. Whether animal or person shall not live upon an extended blast of the shofar, they might ascend the mountain." Moses descended from the people to the people. He sanctified the people, and they washed their clothing. He said to the people, "Be prepared after a 3 day period. Do not draw near a woman." So it was like they were preparing for them they were preparing for the Most High to descend on Mount Sinai. So they had to be like, well, like, think about the preparation for something like that. There really wasn't any other time. There's not been many times where they had to, like, so you know what I mean. Like, there's preparation before the Shabbat. There's preparation before other ceremonies we have, but this was rare. The Most High. This one, you know what I mean. So what did they have to do? They had to sanctify themselves, and they had to keep away from women for 3 days. You know what I mean? 3 day period. You know what I mean? So it's like that teaches you a lot about holiness in itself. Teaches you a lot about the 3 step process. Um, you know what I mean? To set yourself apart. You know what I mean? So we had to sanctify ourselves. We had to wash our clothing. You know what I mean? S- you know what I mean? And if you read further into, I think I forgot what book it was. We weren't even allowed to defecate or to urinate around the camp or anywhere. We had to go all out the camp, and we had to bury our defecation. You know what I mean? So it's like set apart holiness. You know what I mean? So oh uh where was it at? One more verse, Exodus chapter 22. Exodus chapter 22, verse 30. What is. Okay, here it is. Verse 28. I'm going to start from there. Do not delay your. Exodus chapter 22, verse 28. Do not delay your fullness offering or your priestly heave offering. The firstborn of your sons shall you present to me. So shall you do to your ox, to your flock. For a 7 day period shall it be with its mother. On the 8th day you shall present it to me. People of holiness shall you be to me. You shall not eat flesh of an animal that was torn in the field. To the dog shall you throw it. You know what I mean? So basically the highlight of that verse is people of holiness were to be unto the most high. You know what I mean? Of unclean things, unclean methods, unclean like ways, we are to set ourselves apart from. You know what I mean? That's why we set ourselves apart from certain peoples. I know some people don't want to hear it. There's some people who's real sensitive, but the truth is, certain people don't have clean ways, man. They just don't. Like, they just don't. So, this is gonna be Shalom from Brother Z. Uh, uh, praise the Most High Yahweh, Yahweh Kai. I'm happy that all the brothers were able to come on and give their verses, and for us to do as much as we can to try to edify who the people out there who like to tune in. So I thank you to everybody out there. Halaliyah, praise the Most High, and may we further our what's the word? May we further our understanding, but more so our efforts. May we further our efforts in this. So Shalom and Yahweh Kai.
Yahweh Akkad. Shalom. Forget all my closing verses. And this is Isaiah. I'm gonna start in Isaiah 41, and I'm gonna start at verse 8. But you, O Yasharal, my servant Jacob, you whom I have chosen, offspring of Abraham, who loved me, You whom I shall grasp from the ends of the earth, and shall summon from among all its noblemen, and to whom I shall say, You are my servant. I have chosen you and not rejected you. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I have strengthened you, even helped you, and even sustained you with my righteous right hand. Behold, all who become angry with you will be shamed and humiliated. Those who fight with you shall be like nothingness and shall perish. The men who struggle with you, you shall seek them but not find them. The men who fight you, they shall be like nothingness and naught, for I am Yahweh, your God, who grasps your right hand, who says to you, Fear not, for I help you. Right? Verse 14. Fear not, O worm of Jacob, O men of Yasharal, for I help you. The word of Yahweh and your Redeemer, the Holy One of Yasharal. Behold, I have made you like a new sharp threshing iron with many blades. You will thresh and pulverize mountains, and you will make the hills like chaff. You will winnow them, and the wind will carry them off. A storm will scatter them. But you will rejoice in Yahweh, in the Holy One of Yasharal will you glory. So, it's like it says, but you, O Israel, my servant, Jacob, you whom I have chosen, offspring of Abraham, who loved me, you know. So yeah, I mean, we have to be set apart because Yahweh chose us, and the reason why we, in the land of our captivity, and our people continue to follow the abominations of others is because we don't have the Tharawah in our mind. You know, our people just abhorred Yahweh's Tharawah. After Yahweh chose us, the people of affliction, and we turned against him. So Yahweh turned his face from us, right? So also I'm gonna go to hold on, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go to um oh give me 1 second. I'm gonna go to oh Isaiah 43. And now, thus says Yahweh, your creator, O Jacob, the one who fashioned you, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. So with that, praise Yahweh, Shalom to all the brothers on the panel, and Thawadah Yahweh for allowing us to bring out, his truth and scriptures and allowing the brothers to get together and continue, to build the temple and to build, with one another, and just continue to walk in Yahweh's truth as best as we can, wholeheartedly and sincerely, and to pass this, to pass the truth on to Yasharal, who is still seeking and who are want to change, to come out of Egypt and out of the folly. So, you know, with that being said, I'm gonna read one more. Isaiah 43, Isaiah 43, verse 10. You are my witnesses, the word of Yahweh, and my servant whom I have chosen, so that you will know and believe in me, and understand that I am he. Before me nothing was created by a God, nor would there be after me. So with that, Yahweh Akkad, I'm passing it off to the next brother.
Okay. All right, I can. Say Shalom, Shalom. That's Brother X. The last verse is gonna come out of Ezekiel. I'm gonna start off with Ezekiel. Yeah, I'm gonna start off with Ezekiel 48. I'm gonna read verse 11 and 12. And it says, this hollow place shall be to the Goaniah, the sons of Zadawak, who safeguard my charge, who did not stray when the children of Yasharal, as the Levites had strayed. It shall be a separated portion for them out of the sacred portion of the land, holies of holies, next to the border of the Levites. So even within the Lawam, there was a breach, and you saw that brothers were they had to separate themselves from other brothers because it was falling astray. So you know it just said uh, yeah uh, they had strayed away. So my other verse is going to come out of Psalms 1, and it's going to be verses 1 through 3, and it says, and this is example, like a huge example on how to be set apart. You know, who is that? Yeah, this is a huge example on how to be set apart. So it says, Praiseworthy is the man who walked not in the counsel of the wicked, and stood not in the path of the sinful, and sat not in the session of scorners. But his desire is in the Torah of Elohim, and in his Torah he meditates day and night. He shall be like a tree deeply rooted alongside brooks of water, that yields his fruit in its season, whose leaf never withers, and everything that he does will succeed. And it's nice and pleasant to think about that. That sounds exactly how Yahweh, brought Joseph up. You know what I'm saying? When Joseph was in the pit, Yahweh brought him out of that dark place, and he allowed him to be successful. You know, so it's real pleasant to hear that. But it says, "Not so the wicked; rather they are like the chaff that are like the wind, dropped away. Therefore the wicked shall not be vindicated in judgment, nor the sinful in the assembly of righteous. For Yahweh attends the way of the righteous, while the way of the wicked will perish." Right. Now, if you go all the way down to chapter 4, and you're going to verse 4 and 5, verse 4 says, "Be aware that Yahweh has set aside the devout one for himself." See, he has set aside the devout one for himself, the anointed. Yahweh's anointed. You know what I'm saying? Just like I said earlier, the priest, uh, the priest, uh, supposed to symbolize the holies of holies. Those are his devout, his anointed. Also, it says, uh, "So Yahweh will listen when I call." And it's like this was a song by Dawid, so we already know Dawid was anointed by Elohim. He was king of Yasharal. So it says, "So Yahweh will listen when I call to him." Verse 5, "Tremble and sin not. Reflect in your hearts while on your beds, and be utterly silent." Selah. See, these are ways to be set apart, or ways to start being set apart. If you want to repent from your sins, you got to start by doing these things. You need to reflect on your ways, you know what I'm saying? Contemplate on your actions. You also need to examine your heart and see what your intentions are. And it's probably good to be silent, because, the wise man knows that he knows nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, verse, and then it says, verse 6, it says, "Slaughter offerings of righteousness and trust in Elohim." So, righteousness or righteous offerings would be like that sacrifice to that Lord carnal self. You know what I'm saying? That's a sacrifice of righteousness. You're giving up that carnality for something that's higher. You know what I'm saying? For a higher elevation. You know what I'm saying? What's the word for elevation again? Is it Hawar? Like Mount Hawar? What's that meant to ascend? I think my all. Oh, okay. Fly, fly. But yes, just by those ways, those are many different ways that one can separate himself from the world, separate himself from the folly of the nations, and truly strive to get back on the path of following Allahayim to, you know, wholehearted degree. We need to get back on that. We need to do it as a nation. You know what I'm saying? We need to be as one. We need to be in one unison, not being all disbanded. You know what I'm saying? We need to come back together, and we need to come under the greater cause of serving Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? We've been Everybody was drinking the Jeebus juice way too long. You know what I'm saying? They got drunk over that. That's the old news. You know what I'm saying? It's time for a change. You know what I'm saying?
It's my all.
Ma'al. So yes,
Ma'al
the
means
word for ascension is ma'al.
for strong 4607. A raising of the hand, lifting up, an
Con.
elevation. Well, this is 4608. Ma'allah,
So
elevation.
with that being said, I'm gonna pass it on to Brother Abaya. If you don't have anything else to say.
All right, yeah, I want to end with my last one. Excuse me. We'll end with my last one. It's going to be Jeremiah 12. I'm going to start at 14. It says, "Thus said Yahweh concerning all my evil neighbors who damage the inheritance that I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I am uprooting them from their land, and I will uproot the house of Judah from among them." So we will be separated from these people. Let's keep going. "And it shall be that after I uproot them, I will pity them again, and I will return each man of them to his heritage, and each man to his land." Verse 16, "It shall be if they learn well the ways of my people to swear in my name as Yahweh lives, just as they taught my people to swear by the Baal, then they shall be restored along with my people. But if they do not listen, I shall uproot that nation, uprooting and destroying it. The word of Yahweh. With that, I want to say peace to all of my shawls on board. Peace to anybody who came. Halala waya, Yahweh Kad.
Khan.
Con.
Ah,
Con.
Shalom. Thank you again, brother Vaya, for coming on and everything. And Shalom to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it really did feel good to get this live stream done, and it feels good to get the information out there, and especially over the topic. Um, to all the Yasharal out there, do your best to stay diligent and to set yourself apart. Keep your thorough in your heart and your soul. Try to read it day and night. Try to do whatever you can. You know what I'm saying? Meditate on the Most High's word. Appreciate him and love him, for he does kindness, justice, and righteousness in all the land. Your land, my land, our neighbors' lands. The Most High even pities his enemies. You know what I mean? So, shalom to all the brothers and sisters. Shalom to everybody that came on the panel. And Yahweh Kai.
Yahweh Akkad.
How okay. So shalom to everybody. Thought it out for all the marshals. Hope you guys have a good night. You know what I'm saying? Hello, Yah. We thank Yahweh for another glorious day. And um, yes, just being able to get out this information is really refreshing. So, with that being said, we do have to remain set apart, guys. Like the brothers were saying, it's important. We're not supposed to be intermingling with the nations because we already been caught up in that snare. So, you know what I'm saying? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, still shame on me. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta change for the better and not for the worse, basically. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, shalom, and all you guys have a good night. What's that? Bakwar Layla.
Con. Bequar Layla. Shalom.